Sandra Faulkner is a 2012 scholar, and Sandra's from New Zealand. That's right, isn't it, Sandra? New Zealand. Please come up. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me to speak to you today. I am going to wander across the length of the stage. I hope I don't annoy the video people too much, but you see, New Zealand's quite small and we don't need stages to speak. So, yeah, thank you very much for the welcome, Dave. Dave's our Ukrainian knight in shining RE boots. He keeps us alive in that part of the world, so it's been great to catch up. And certainly with those of you that I've met through Nuffield, Australia, it's really good to see you all again. So, a future yarn, and basically where to for the New Zealand wool industry. Okay. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to talk. Okay, I was going to show you photos of my husband and my boys. But you see, I'm a New Zealander, so I'm going to talk to you about sheep. Thank you. Okay, do you want me to stand at these? Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay, yeah, just something here. Alrighty, so, thanks. Okay, that's not what we've done. Alright, okay, green New Zealand. This is the home farm, Wairakaya. On the home block we've got 600 hectares, which is either as flat as a table or it's vertical, and the vertical spends most of its time trying to be as flat as a table. That's why you see as many trees as you do in our country. It is fantastic country to farm. It's in an alluvial basin, so basically it's the sort of country where you stick a dead dog in the ground and it grows. So I'm going to talk to you not about my children and my husband, but my sheep. So this is a Coopworth ewe, a New Zealand developed breed. We have reasonably high expectations of them. So this ewe here, I expect to raise 60 kgs of lamb a year. That's across 3 lambs. And I expect her to clip 9 kilos of 32 micron wool across 2 clips in a year. They do it, but you've got to be able to look after them well. Now, we can sell lamb basically all over the world, and that was proven to me all through this year when I travelled, because everywhere I went, I saw Australian beef at the top of the menu, and I saw New Zealand lamb. So the New Zealand lamb is pretty secure in its place in the world. Our wool, on the other hand, has reached a point where it's basically become dysfunctional, which is a very, very sad reflection on a product that used to occupy the same place in New Zealand that dairy does now. This is what got me really riled up. That is the New Zealand wool auction price trend across the last 60 years. It doesn't make for pretty reading, does it? It certainly does not make for pretty farming. So I looked at this in 2011, and I was able at that stage to be studying at Lincoln University, where I did a rural leaders program, and I studied the domestic market because I thought, okay, well, you know, hopefully the answers to this is here on shore. But what I very quickly discovered, of course, was that 90% of our wool is sent away overseas and never seen again. So it's sold off the back of the sheep, basically, and disappears on a ship. I wasn't getting the complete picture. So I had to gather my courage and apply for a Nuffield scholarship. I endured easily the worst hour of my life trying to get it. But I was awarded a New Zealand Nuffield scholarship, and to this day the privilege is just extraordinary. So I headed away overseas, and I did my travel in 3 blocks. So my first 2 months was done over the UK and Europe. The second 2 months, after I'd been home for about a month in between, was Australia, the USA, Canada and China, where I spent a full month. And then my final 2 months was our global focus tour that took us up through India, Qatar, the Ukraine, Turkey, France. We were in Switzerland for about half an hour, it was pretty cool, and back through the USA to home. So let's put this picture here into perspective. This is the stock numbers of New Zealand, if you like. This is the environment that we now farm in. So we farm in the land of milk and honey, make no mistake. Because if you're not farming milk or honey, you might as well just go home. So you can see dairy cow numbers heading well north, you can see beef sort of rocks along, and sheep numbers heading well south. Please do bear in mind though, that our land export has not dropped 1 iota for all that loss of ewe numbers. So that's productivity. Alrighty, so we get on the road, and I go, okay, now I am going to go out there and I'm going to discover the one thing that is going to fix this problem, and I'm going to find the answers, I'm going to come home, and we're just going to nail it. No problem at all. I'm putting my hand in the air, I did not find the answer. But what I did find was that, and I know all Nuffields that have been here and done this before will tell you this is exactly what happens, and I know I'm fitting the model perfectly. My focus started to shift to what does make for successful industries in agriculture. And in particular, the industry representation that goes with the groups that are really successful. And so I started to draw some key messages together from the likes of, actually, have we got any cotton growers in the room? 1, 2? Okay, can you put your hands up really high? Right, everybody else in the room, you've got morning tea coming up. Go and see these people. They know how to run an industry representation group. Cotton Australia is so onto it, you've got no idea. But the thing is that they do things that Pennsylvania soybean growers do, and a bunch of other people that I was able to visit with, that they have in common. And this is what they are. They're very simple. And I know that there will be an awful lot of people in here who sit on boards, who sit on industry representative groups, and these are the messages that you need to, every time you make a decision, or every time you go into the boardroom, to remember. Please, do what you say you are going to do. Now, your growers and your producers that are paying your levies, they don't have huge, impossible expectations of you. But they expect you to say, we are going to do A, B, and C. They then expect you to do A, B, and C. And then they expect you to report on A, B, and C. It's pretty simple, really, isn't it? We're making a really big deal out of something that's not all that hard. So, you've got growers that have those expectations. What they do not expect is for every single one of your plans to be successful. They do want to know about it, so keep them in the loop. Keep it simple. Now, we're coming back to the likes of Cotton Australia, and this is a wee bit of an aside, but strategic plans. Now, we hear a lot about strategic plans at the moment. It's one of those key things that everybody says, oh yeah, you've got to have your strategic planning meetings, and there's some fairly elaborate documents out there now. The really good industry representative groups that I spoke with had really short strategic plans. They were 10 or 11 pages long and no more. And that included pictures too. Be proactive. Now, you guys in Cotton Australia are just all over this. I have to give this to Cotton Australia, absolutely, because they have established the challenges that they're going to face as an industry in 10 years' time plus. They're not dealing with the issues that their growers are facing right now, because they dealt with those 10 years ago. We don't do that across any other of our industries, especially in New Zealand. And wool falls so badly behind with this, because what we spend all our time worrying about is actually what happened 50 years ago and getting run over by the truck that's coming in the rear vision mirror all the time. So, be proactive. Start thinking about what it is that's going to face your industry in 10 years' time. Because the thing is that, 10 years ago, there is absolutely no way you would have been able to pick that your consumers now can decide exactly what it is that they want for breakfast off their smartphone. But the people that were out there thinking proactively would have been thinking, there's going to be something out there that allows my consumer to get in touch with, a whole lot quicker than they do now, and they would have been planning accordingly. The final point, and this one came through loud and clear, please be approachable and respectful of the people that pay your levies. Now these are just basic morals that we would have all grown up with. But somewhere in the big wide world we lose sight of this and we start thinking that we actually know better than the guys that are actually paying our levies, and we need to tell them what it is that they need. But what I discovered was that the answers to a whole lot of the questions that face our industries now are actually quite often just over the back fence. Because I'm standing here in a room full of Nuffield scholars all across our industries, which means that those brains are working in your industries. Go out and find them. They may even just be over your back fence. Listen to them. Have your door open. Be approachable. So, back to New Zealand wool. In 2009, we stopped paying an industry levy. And I now sit on a committee that's looking at, did we lose from that? Did we gain from that? And the decision, the jury's still out, quite frankly. But in my opinion, right now, we have an opportunity to rewrite the legislation that governs our industry. 150 years, we haven't had this opportunity until now. It's pretty big, it's exciting. But we've got to start talking to one another. This is a time when we need to depend on one another. We need to understand that the person at our shoulder is actually on our side. And unfortunately, when you are entirely open to commercial interest as we are right now, then the sneaky wee beast keeps coming into the room all the time that says, oh no, we can't tell them that, it's commercially sensitive. Anyway, we need to start investing in the industry good. We need to start coming together so that our government, who wants to spend money on our primary industries, is able to do so to a unified industry. And we need to start thinking outside the square. We need to think that change is good. And it doesn't come to human nature very easily. But we can do it. We can start thinking that, we have issues with stain resistance. I bet you, somewhere in the genomic code, there's an answer for that. So, that's where we're at the moment. A couple of learnings that I did come home with that are slightly aside from the industry representation. The campaign for wool. It is huge. It is the best thing that happened to wool globally for quite a long time, and it's still out there, and we need to get on board with it. Because everywhere I went, they were either waiting for or really excited about the fact that they just got it. Through China, through the US, places like that. And when you've got free celebrity marketing, you just can't go wrong, can you? Just ask Revlon, how much do you reckon they pay for commercial marketing? And one other challenge that I would lay out to all of you. You'll see today and tomorrow a whole bunch of amazing global focus pictures. They'll be in front of the US state buildings, they'll be in front of the Eiffel Tower, they'll be in extraordinary places, Tiananmen Square and all those sort of things. This is a scruffy bunch of us that got off a plane in India, a flight from Delhi. And the chap in the centre, I don't know, does anyone recognise the guy in the middle in the white shirt? Anyone? No? Okay, it's Rick Stein. Now Rick Stein produces cooking programs. We produce food. Now he met us on the plane and he laid down the challenge to us, and I would like to lay this challenge to all of you here. He said to us, you are coming to my restaurant to sell me your product. You have 30 seconds. Sell me your product. There'll be a test after